okay with it in yourself and know that there's a bigger picture on the other side. So just because you're putting in endless sleepless nights, like know that those sleepless nights are gonna pay off. Like it might not be paying off right now, it might not pay off next month, but those times where you're by yourself and you're working, it'll pay off.
Welcome to the Powerful One podcast, guys. This is episode 21 with Kevin Liles. It's a perfectly fitting episode because Kevin recently in February just released an EP called In My Blood, and one of his most popular songs, 21, which details his life up until his 21st birthday and the experiences he's had in that. So he's got an amazing EP that's out right now. He's actually got a new song that's coming out in June with a new music video, so stay tuned on that. But Kevin is a Baltimore-based rap artist. He has been making music for over a year, and he is currently a student at the University of Maryland, finishing up his degree there. Kevin and I go way back to middle school since we met, and this is a really amazing episode. Kevin is such an insightful guy, such a down-to-earth guy. I absolutely love the off-the-air conversation as well as this podcast. Such amazing stuff. We talk about everything from Kevin's first experiences making music and how it actually started with his roommate in his freshman year of college actually making music. We talk a lot about taking action and how Kevin took the action from just enjoying music to wanting to pursue it. And we talk a lot about some of the good advice, the bad advice that he's gotten along the way, the criticism, the good things, and how to take that all with a grain of salt and really listen to your inner voice. We talk about balance because, like I said, Kevin's a student, so we talk about balancing the schoolwork life with the passion and everything else that you have going on as being a student. We talk also a lot about consistency and motivation and the difference between the internal motivation and external and just being consistent, especially now with the quarantine. So really amazing episode. We even dive into a lot of mindset and belief in yourself and that sort of thing. So really amazing episode, guys. I really hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to let us know what you think down below. Subscribe, share, and if you enjoy it, share it with your friends. But here it is, guys. Powerful One Podcast with Kevin Liles. Podcast here with Kevin Liles. What's up, bro?
What's good with you? What's up, bro?
Chilling, man. It's been a while. It's been forever since I've seen Kev. We were good friends at St. Paul's. We went to the same high school together, and now we're both doing our own thing. But man, like your energy is just—it's not, especially like where we went to high school. Like the energy that you have, just with like your passion and stuff, is hard to come by. So I'm glad we linked up, man. How you been? How you been living through the quarantine and through everything?
I've been good. Honestly, appreciate you like noticing just like certain things that I've got going on.
Yeah.
It's good to connect with. It's good to connect with people that are like-minded and people that kind of go against the grain of like what social normities are, stuff like that. So
exactly.
I'm just here to talk about some new ideas, talk about our plans, our goals.
Yeah, bro.
That's it.
Exactly, man. Yeah. So for people. I said on the intro a little bit about your background, but I mean, when we first, in high school, like you weren't, like you told me before, you were into music, but you never thought that you'd be like making music and, getting into like production down the line and stuff like that. So tell me, I guess, and tell people listening a little bit of like when the music thing clicked for you and when you were like, shit, like music is something I'm passionate about.
Right. So I feel like everybody has something that they're passionate about. As I was in high school and even like middle school, I was always like a big music guy. I always sing the lyrics, be the guy that like acted out and stuff like that. But I think in college you kind of get away from home a little bit.
For sure.
And you kind of like realize that like everything isn't get handed to you. It's not like you can go home every day. Like I was living in South Carolina, so it was just like I'm seeing all kinds of stuff. People doing this, people doing this, and I'm like, I gotta do something that I love. So God put a roommate in front of me who was making music, and me and him just clicked. So I just feel like music has always been my love, but I just connected it with actually making music, recording music, and finding other artists and helping them, and putting other artists in the studio, believing in them. Just trying to do it in a different way than what normally everybody sees on the internet and what most rappers might be conceived as. I'm just trying to show something different.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, like you said, like you were always passionate about music, but you never would have thought that was
Never,
like,
bro. And
right.
it's kind of like, I'm not doing that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like I can't see myself, and I feel like that's what a lot of people like.
Yeah.
In 7th grade, like you probably would never see yourself being this guy.
No,
like, jeez,
no,
like,
dude, hell
like
no.
lifting, doing all this stuff. So it's good.
Yeah.
It's good to like go through that transformation. Definitely.
Yeah, I always say, and a lot of people, I don't know if they agree with it or not, but I always say personally that you have more in common with like your 5 to 10-year-old self than you do with like your kind of middle, like 15 to 20-year-old self, because I feel like somewhere along the lines that gets blurred by just like the social aspect and like the distractions. Like we talked about, like off camera, like distractions are huge, and so I feel like to be able to rekindle something that you always knew you loved, but like didn't have a direction for it, or didn't, like maybe got lost in the weeds. Like that's like a cool thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's everything. Like it's natural. You know what I mean? It's like it's not. I don't feel forced. I don't be like, oh, I gotta go to the studio today. Or, Oh, I don't have enough songs, or I gotta drop a song next month. Like it's kind of like I want to do it. I'm taking initiative. I'm like you know what I mean? It's not like something I'm downing on. Like I'll be in the studio for 8 hours all night and wake up the next day at 9 a.m. and do it all over. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's nothing that it's just natural. You know what I mean? And same with you. Like it's natural. Working out every day.
Exactly.
Like eating healthy, like it's natural. It's not like you see a piece of cake. It's like I don't even want it. No matter if it's free, I don't care. I don't want it. You know what I mean? So it's just natural. So I think that's like the biggest thing. Whatever comes natural to you, whatever you feel like, whatever you wake up and you think about, whatever you watching, whatever you're listening to, like try to connect it, try to make it your own way. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I feel like that's huge too, because I don't know, like if you can do something without it feeling like work. Like I remember even off camera, like we talked about this, but like I was like, so what else are you into? And it was really like for you, it's just music. Like you just live and love music, and so I feel like if we can really find what you're passionate about and make that, you know, ideally a career, that's the greatest thing, man.
Right.
You know.
Right. And I don't think it's like it's no right or wrong. Like sometimes I could have started making music and I didn't find out I didn't like it. So it was like something new. You know what I mean? Exactly. So I think a lot of people, you should just try stuff out. Like I could have. Like in sophomore year of college, like my friends was messing with me, like, you're a rapper now, you know, just playing around.
Right.
And I'm kind of like, no, bro, I'm not. But, you know, I liked it. I kept doing it. People said I was good at it. So, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I was doing on alone time. Like, when I was by myself, like in the dorm, just writing songs, like literally just by myself. And like, so I think that's what it is. Like when you're by yourself, like what are you doing when you're by yourself?
Absolutely.
Not with everybody around, not with people gassing you up and like giving you that confidence. Like you got to build your own confidence. You know?
No, that's huge. It's like, what do you like to do? You know, like on your own, right?
Like your own.
Exactly.
Nobody don't got to tell you that. You'll go research it yourself. You'll go figure it out yourself.
Exactly.
You'll talk to the right people. Like you don't gotta. Nobody doesn't have to do it for you. So
that's a big thing, man. I feel like especially people who are in maybe like a long-term relationship, if they don't have that thing, that's when they can get like crushed. Is like if you're investing all your energy into something that's maybe with somebody else, like let's say it's a friendship and that friendship ends, or if it's a relationship and that relationship ends, and you don't have something that you can do on your own that you love, you're gonna like fall apart.
Right.
So I feel like that's awesome that you found that. So walk me through like the beginning stages of you like trying out music. Like you said, your roommate was into it. What was like your first experience with like, you know, coming up with lyrics, writing them down, and basically having like your first song?
First experience, bro, I was a freshman at Coastal Carolina University. My roommate was making music, and I was just listening to it, and I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, he's coming up with those own philosophies and coming up with his own, you know, his own song. Like, this is his own song. So, literally, I went on YouTube, typed in a beat.
Damn.
And, like, that was it. Like, I just was on my laptop, took my notes, took a pen out, just wrote, like, a whole song. And, like, I think that Thanksgiving break, I came back, started showing my family, and they're, like, kind of joking me a little bit, like, oh, you think you're a little rapper now, da-da-da. And they liked it, though, and they supported me. So that's what made me go. But that was kind of the start, like, in freshman year of college, just writing stuff down and, like, rehearsing it. Then, like, I would get around, like, maybe one or two people, like, yo, let me say this for you and see if you like it. And they'd be like, yo, that's hard, bro. I like it. Da-da-da, da-da. Then you got to go through the stage of, like, creating and then how do I put it out to the world? You know what I mean? 'Cause
Exactly.
that's like a whole different stage. Like I was going through a stage like I don't know how to be in front of the camera.
For sure.
I'm not like the camera guy, but
Right.
like even with you, like you fighting and lifting weights and like what you're doing, but you're figuring out a way to relate it to the person that's on the phone
For
and
sure.
on Instagram. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And that's the challenge. Like it's not just about you got to find a way to get it out to the people, and that's like the biggest thing. So
Yeah, man, and I think that's like we talked about. I mean, it's one of those things too. Like having a plan is great, but like if you don't have that action, then it's tough. So at what point for you did you like come out with your first song and you're like, all right, I've got these ideas and I got these lyrics written down. I'm gonna like take that next step and really like put stuff out there. And you know, me and you know like firsthand that people will judge you no matter
Right.
what, whether it's good, whether it's bad. People are gonna talk about you. So when were you just like able to get rid of that aspect of it and get over the planning aspect and take that action?
Honestly, with me, I'm a kind of person that I care about what people think, but to a certain extent.
For
you
sure.
know what I mean?
For
So
sure.
I didn't want to just start making music, start putting it out, and it wasn't sounding how I wanted it to sound. I wasn't really putting the message that I wanted to put out. So when I put out my first song, probably 4 months before I put out my first song, I was making a bunch of other songs. I was
Gotcha.
playing songs for my
Yeah.
friends. I was playing songs for my family, like seeing if they liked it, if they didn't like it, what were they feeling, what should I change. So I was kind of just like playing the field before I put something out.
For sure.
So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because that's one of the things like we've talked about before, but just kind of like you got to take the action. Like so many people
you
have
do.
all, like we talk about this too. Like so many people have all these talents, but it's like they don't take the action or they don't take that kind of leap of faith.
Right.
So when was it for you where you're like, all right, music's my thing. There's no going back. Like I'm gonna take music as far as it's gonna take me.
So I got like a funny story. I was making music, sent it to my dad, sent one of the songs to my dad, and he calls me. Literally, like, I haven't sent him no music. This is the first song I've ever sent him, like 2 years ago. Sent him the song, like, what do you think about this? Like, I want to put it out, I want to do a video, I want to do all this other stuff. And he literally calls me and was like, put it out.
Damn.
So it's like, so I'm like, all right, I mean, I guess I'm going to put it out. Like, I'm calling, but the thing is, I'm like calling him thinking he's going to do something, but like at the end of the day, I got to put it out. Like, naturally, like a hit will become a hit
Exactly.
on its own. Like, it's not, I mean, you got to put money behind stuff, market stuff,
For sure.
but like, basically just put it out. So anybody out there, you got a podcast, whatever, just put it out. I mean, obviously make sure it's quality, obviously make
Right.
sure it's what you want it to be and it's your brand, but
Absolutely.
put it out at some point, put it out because you never know. Like I said, Lil Nas X never knew that song would make him millions of
Right,
dollars.
and what if he didn't put it
never
out?
know. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So you gotta watch who you listen to too, because
Absolutely.
you guys gotta balance it. You gotta have like your own voice in your own head, and you know what's right in your own head. But it's good to listen to other people too.
Yeah. So for you, like, who's the source of motivation? Like, for you, do you get most of your inspiration and motivation, like, internally? Or do you have a lot of people that you turn to and, like, really adhere their advice and, like, go along with what they say? And then in turn, like, is there certain people that you know that you really can't take their advice and you just gotta do what you know is right? Is there certain people that maybe help you, or is it more of, like, a you thing?
I think it's more of a me thing,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
I think it's a me thing. I spend a lot of time like by myself.
Yeah.
Spend a lot of time like, just alone, and not say that I'm alone, but
Right,
like,
right,
I
right.
purposely spend time alone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's something that
Work
some
on myself,
people need to
right.
understand is a good thing, to spend
Right.
time alone. So
right.
that's, yeah.
So and
Yeah.
with like music and stuff, I'm playing music with people, and like I listen to their opinion. But like at the end of the day, nobody really knows 100% in
Yeah.
any industry. Like
Yeah.
nobody knows who's the next. Like you can think you know, but nobody really knows. So
Yeah.
I have a song, and one of my friends like, I'm not really feeling it, but like I believe in the song.
For sure.
I gotta figure out a way to be in the middle. Or if he says, yo, that song's crazy, but I'm thinking the song's just
Yeah,
okay, or
for
like
sure.
you gotta find the middle ground. You know what I mean? And you can't listen to everybody else all the time because nobody knows more than you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody
Yeah.
knows more than you.
So yeah, did you get any? I mean, was there any like scrutiny when you starting like making music? Was there any people who were like, dude, like don't do this? I mean, whether like anybody.
Facts. I wouldn't say to my face.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say to my face. Only person kind of told me, like, are you sure? Is my mom,
Yeah.
like, are you sure? Cause,
And
like,
that's just because she cares.
yeah,
and
you
she
know what I
loves
mean?
you.
And it comes with a lot, like, it could come with a lot.
Right.
When you make a hit, it could come with a lot of
Yeah.
just messy distractions, you know what I mean? So,
Right.
I was the only person, though. Everybody else kind of just took it, was, like, proud of me and was
Yeah,
like,
man.
keep going, like, that's it.
Yeah, so you're in school right now. So how do you balance, and how have you balanced like the school life with like, you know, obviously recording, being in the studio, focusing on lyrics? What's that balance like for you?
So school is like the most important thing right now.
Yeah.
I gotta graduate, so
Yeah.
like I can record all the songs in the
Right,
world.
right.
But, like I got one semester left, so I'm trying to just graduate. So I think it's you just gotta keep that balance. I try to if I have like an exam or something, I kind of focus on the exam, and my music it'll come because I have a bunch of songs that I've unreleased, and I kind of go back and work on them, and it's just natural. Like I was saying, like what you love and what you want to do and what you feel, like it'll come naturally. Like it'll literally come naturally. Like there's so much time in a day. It's 24 hours in a day. So like if I spend 3 hours studying, like what am I doing for the rest of the day?
Right.
I mean, I sleep for 7 hours. Like what am I doing for the rest of the 14 hours? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I can put 4 hours to me working on my music. Put another hour. I don't know. People look at life like that. Like it could go.
Yeah,
you
man.
could really. It just takes time. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It really takes time. It really takes time.
So that's one thing, like going off that is like, you know, we talk about consistency. So how have you been able to like stay consistent, especially like with the quarantine? Like a lot of people, like we talked about with fitness and stuff like that, like they kind of fell off. So what is the best way that you've just stayed consistent and like kept putting out content and kept putting out songs and just being able to overcome that hump of like, oh, I don't feel like doing it? What's like your best, you know, consistency that's helped you with that?
Honestly, me personally, knowing that it's possible, knowing that other people are doing it.
Yeah.
So like it's not like, oh, everybody that was lifting weights, now it's quarantine, they're gonna come out and not be strong. Like they're gonna lose their muscle. Like no, it's people out here that like the gym closed, they're still finding a way to work out. Whether it's push-ups, whether it's sit-ups, like so like just seeing that, whether it's on Instagram, on the internet, like I see people like whether you can't go make you can't have a full music video shoot, but you can still do something in your house.
For sure.
You can't have a studio with 10 people, but you can still go to the studio by yourself.
Absolutely.
Still got a studio in my crib, so like, you know, it's just like no excuses.
Absolutely.
That's basically what it is. Like, excuses gotta go, and you know, if you got people around you that don't make a lot of excuses, like that's just the biggest thing. Like the gyms are closed, but that doesn't mean you can't work out.
For sure.
It just doesn't mean that. So just trying to stay around people that motivate me, and like even like on Instagram and like on the internet, like I try to watch things that like will make me get up and be like, all right, I gotta do more. I gotta do more. Not things that like make me want to sit down and not do anything, because there's just no point in that.
No, that's so true. Like I think it's so important to, and that was part of the reason. Like originally, I created a whole nother Instagram. I would just say that like for me, it's powerful to have stuff where, like stimulus, that gets me on the right track. Because if I open up Instagram and I see a bunch of people doing a bunch of nonsense, out drinking and partying, it just gets you in the wrong mindset. And so I feel like that's important. Not only having people around you physically that are like motivating, or just, you know, on the right track, but also like your social media. Like you think about it, you wake up and you start scrolling and you're seeing people doing nonsense. It's probably gonna make more likely that you're gonna just do nonsense the rest of the day too.
And it's possible to do whatever you want. Like it really is. Like it really is. And I've seen that. I've seen people go from like going to jail to becoming millionaires and all this stuff. So like it's possible. Like so quarantine, like it sucks right now. But like you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta find a way, and like we're finding a way right now. Found a way to work out today. Like you just found a way. So I think that's the biggest thing.
So for you making music, what's like the go-to? Because for me, knowing nothing about, you know, I listen to music, obviously, I love it, but knowing nothing about the creative process of that, what's like for you the thing you're able to do to help you make music the most? Like what puts you in that creative mindset, and like what's your best outlet for being like, all right, I'm gonna, you know, do this to make music? Does that make sense?
To me, being by myself. Being by myself is like, I just feel like there's no limit. There's nobody that can tell me, oh, that sounds, I don't know if I like it, or that sounds crazy hard. Like it doesn't matter. It matters how it sounds to you, but at the end of the day, it's the creative process.
Absolutely.
So the creative process is so many you can't really judge it. You can't really. So I would just say being by myself.
Yeah.
No limit. It's like no limit. I feel like I could say anything, do anything, put any like. I just feel like I don't know, super wavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
nobody can really.
Yeah.
And that's just me. Like some people like
Right.
to go to the studio and like to be in the studio with a bunch of people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not really a right or wrong. It's just
Sure.
a person. Like I feel super comfortable when I'm not around a lot of people and I'm with like by myself or maybe one person. I feel super comfortable. I feel like I could do whatever one. People aren't like judging me or
Yeah.
like, because the creative process, like if we saw like a lot of these artists make songs, like you might think it like it's weird or like, oh, he's just doing nonsense, but like to get from a no song to like a song, it might look kind of funny, you know what I
Right,
mean? Like
right.
when I'm recording, like I might just be saying stuff and like stuff popping out and like, and I don't want to like nobody looking like ooh, but like that's just the way it comes. But
Yeah.
the final product is the final product. So
Yeah.
I would just say being alone, being by myself, being with like maybe one person, and just vibing out and
Right.
shooting ideas and letting stuff come off my head. I feel like that's just where music is the best, like when it's just free and it's natural.
Absolutely.
So you're not forcing it. So
Yeah. So like for example, like In My Blood, your most recent EP, that's your most recent one, right?
Right.
So that was what, 4 or 5 songs?
5 songs.
5 songs, yeah.
Right.
So for that one, like we talked about it, but walk me through, my favorite song from that's 21, but like for example, you told me that, walk me through, I guess, the difference between some songs and how, you can maybe create them really easily and very differently, where other songs, they take more time. So like maybe walk me through 2 examples of a song that you created and it just like flowed versus like a song where it took a lot more in a kind of a different vibe, you know what I mean?
So the song 21, I was talking with my dad, we were riding in the car. I actually asked him like, what are some ideas that I should do? Because I want to drop a song around my birthday. He's like, make it called 21. You're turning 21. Like a lot of people, like struggle with getting to age 21, whether it was drugs,
Right.
With their area, whatever. So literally, like this was so natural. I turned on the beat and I went upstairs and just wrote the whole song from top to
Crazy.
bottom.
It's
So
crazy.
like stuff like that is just inevitable. Like it was just natural.
Yeah.
So I recorded it like 2 days later and I put it out like a week later. So that was just too natural. So then the third song, I Don't Care. So how that song came about, I've been listening to the beat for a minute, like a couple weeks, and I didn't put nothing down, but I've been listening to it like in the car, chilling, and I would just come up with my own little phrases in my head. So when I go in the studio, I will have it down. So I was in Miami for one of my friend's birthday. We flew from Miami to Vegas, and on the plane I wrote like the first verse. Then like some time, like a couple weeks went by, recording other stuff, recording other music, doing all this other stuff. Then like for some reason, that beat just kept coming back to me. So I went back to the beat, wrote the second verse, then like took some time off because I don't know, I wasn't really feeling the song.
Yeah.
Then like I came up with the chorus like weeks later, like it all came together. So I don't know, like with me it's kind of just natural. Like I don't ever be like, oh today I gotta record 5 songs.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like or today I have to like record 3. Like I mean I might say that in my head, but like it'll just come out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I record 3 songs, if I record 1 song today, it's fine.
Right,
If I
right.
write 1 verse, if I don't record any songs today, then like you know what I mean? So most of the songs on there were like kind of natural. Wasn't like, all right, In My Blood EP, gotta write down the songs. It was kind of just like, all right, let's use this song. Let's use this
man.
song. Like, oh, let me just think about this. It was kind of just like natural, and I put it all together in the end. It was a good project, a lot of good feedback.
Dude,
so.
yeah, really good project. I was listening to when me and Kev got a workout earlier, but when he rolled up, I was listening to it. I love your music, dude, and like that's cool to see the creative process behind that. And I think like to circle back what we talked about, with finding like your passion or purpose, whatever you want to call it in general, like just like you said, it has to be natural. And so I think it's great that like you don't put any certain restrictions, like I have to get this song out by this date, because like that, it makes it so much more organic, and I feel like that comes out in the song.
It does. It does. You can hear it. You can hear it. Like I'm about to drop a single next month, and I've been listening to this beat for months, bro. I'm talking since February. And like I could have been dropped the song, you know what I mean? But it's not ready yet. It's just not ready. I don't feel super confident in it right now, but as time goes by, like I know it'll come to me if I really put my head to it. I know it will come to me. So
So what's like first of all, this will come out next week, so next Thursday. So if people listening, when will it be out? Do you have a date yet?
I don't have a set date, but it will come out at the end of June.
Nice.
At the end of June. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
So.
What's like what's the coolest experience? Like obviously you've done production stuff with a lot of different people. You've made some music with different people. What's like the coolest experience that you've had making music or just being in like the music industry? Like, is there anything that stood out that was just really cool? Because like I watch your Instagram, you're always traveling. You're always like you're at some concerts, stuff like that. Is there anything that really sticks out as like a really just a cool moment?
To be honest, I've had the opportunity to hang around some celebrity artists, and it's. I think a lot of people see them on Instagram, see them on YouTube, whatever, and like you kind of think these people are like, not people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you think they're like robots, and like right now we think they're not. They're just sitting like, but they're like working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like being around like artists that are actually like successful, like and actually seeing them work.
Yeah.
Like it humbles you because you notice like that he might have a hit song, but like bro, like I was with this man for a week and like bro, he barely slept.
That's crazy.
Like he barely slept. Like I'm getting tired, and he's like he got $1 million in the bank, and he's still trying to go.
Right.
He's coughing out. He's sick, but he's still getting on stage. He's sick. He's still going to the studio. So being able to see that firsthand, because a lot of that stuff isn't shown on camera. You know what I mean?
Man.
It's like
right.
So seeing that stuff firsthand just like makes you like really want to be like, yo, how does he? He's already successful. He's still working.
Right.
So like it's like I'm not even there yet, and so I got a long way to go. You know.
Well, that's a cool perspective for you to see like what goes into it. Because
Right.
I feel like a lot of people, like let's say like Lil Nas X, like who dropped a song that got really popular. A lot of people are just like, oh, it's like an overnight success, but like you don't see
don't know nothing.
the 20 years that go into the
You don't know
overnight
nothing.
success. They don't know anything. So it's cool for you to see that and basically like know what it takes.
Right.
Because like you said, you've been around that a lot. You know what it takes. And so going off that, what's like, because it sounds like you're super confident in your music journey, as you should be, because you put out great stuff. You're consistent. There's no doubt in my mind that you're gonna take this all the way. But like, what's in your mind the thing that you're like, I know I can take this all the way? Like, what is it for you that sticks out where you're like, I know I have what it takes to take the music thing to the next level?
I think me personally, I'm really big on like my brand and big on like how people are perceiving what I'm putting out.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I think that's one of my best traits. Like I'm not the guy that just you don't know what's gonna happen, or like I'm not really unpredictable. You know what I mean? I'm kind of, I don't want to say predictable in a bad way, but like you know what you're gonna get. You know what I mean? It's not like if I were to happen to do business with the company, they're worried about me doing some crazy stuff and getting in trouble, or like going online. Like I'm kind of I don't know. I'm just really big on brand and big on being yourself.
For sure.
Not trying to be anybody else, and not trying to not like the whole bragging and the whole kind of just like being humble. I think that's like a big thing. Like a lot of artists that I've had the opportunity to be around, like they've been like super humble people, and like I've seen people that were humble, but like there's a lot of people that are like super humble. They don't have to post everything. Like everything isn't a phone. Like there's times where your phone, you don't have to be on your phone. You know what I mean? So yeah,
I think that's the best. The best is when it's like that. Like you have a brand and it's organic, and it's just like you have something that you're kind of attached to that's like greater than you. Like like you said, like a brand. I feel like that's when stuff is the best. And so I think that's a good point to see that you have that aspect to your music and to your style.
Right. I just feel like even with you with Powerful One, like all your fans and all your supporters, like they know what they're gonna expect with you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's not like what Tommy are we getting today?
Right.
It's the same Tommy every day, and
sure.
that's big. Like a lot of people lose themselves and they think, oh, I got this many followers, or like now I can start acting another way.
Right.
But like when you are consistent, consistent with yourself, and consistent with the stuff you're putting out, consistent with the things you're doing, consistent with the things you're saying, like people start appreciating it more. People start respecting it, and like that's like the biggest thing. Like you want respect from people, you want people to respect your stuff.
Yeah. So what's been like? No, I completely agree. But like, what's been because the way we grew up is like, and I can't speak to the way you grew up because we did grow up differently. I want to preface that, but like from a high school perspective, we went to the same high school,
Right.
and so making music and this high school we went to, they don't really go hand in hand. So like, it's got to be such a cool thing. What's like the coolest part about looking back in your journey and looking back to now, where you're like, man, like how did I get here? Like what's been something that's really cool where you're like, man, I would have never thought that I would have made it here. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, for real, going to college and like seeing people like you that I went to school with, like doing your own thing, bro. Like that, like I got friends, like one of my friends, Daniel, like he's doing his own thing, and like everybody in high school was kind of like in a box. Like everybody was doing what they're supposed to do, like go to school, do your homework, go to practice, go home. Like it wasn't like, but like now I'm up all night thinking about stuff, like you know what I mean, and it's just good to see like other people doing what they want to do, not what somebody's telling them to do, or not like I don't want to say you're going against the rules, but you're taking a little bit of risk. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about, because that's just what it's about. It's about being happy and doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
So I think that has a big influence on me, like especially people that I grew up with, like seeing them as time gets older, like just growing and growing, like, and like you want to surround yourself with people like that, like people that grow, people that get better, people that like stick to themselves and like stay that they're themselves and not trying to be anybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so. No, dude, I agree. Like, I think it's cooler for me to see like where you're at now than somebody that I maybe met a year ago, because like I've seen we've known each other for a while, man. Like I've seen your growth, and like you said, like I think it's awesome having people around you where you guys, maybe you didn't grow up the same, but you know a similar idea of what life is like, and you're both growing, but in different paths. So it's really cool to see, man, and it's like very inspiring too.
Yeah, inspiring. It's definitely inspiring. Like it's that's the whole thing. It's inspiring, bro. It's inspiring because you know that like it's big. Like for me to be like making music videos, like bro, it's big. In my head, like I know people might watch it and it's like, you know what I mean. Like even for you, like teaching kids and getting on Zoom with kids, like that's big, bro. Like that's big. Like you would have never thought that back then. Like you'd have talked down on that. Like I'm not wasting my time with it. But like, bro, it's big. Like it's a big step, and like it might be uncomfortable for you in the beginning, but like uncomfortable makes you like stronger, and it increases all that. So
and that's what's cool too is like at least from where we came from in high school to now, it's like our individual paths, like from then to now, like you said, like I'd be like crazy that it's crazy what I'm doing now. And so I feel like when you have that perspective of like your own journey, because like to other people maybe what we're doing doesn't seem crazy, but to us and where we came from, of like let's say just take it from high school on, it's a crazy journey, man. And it's crazy to see, because so few people in my eyes, like I respect what they're doing so much that I want to get them on my podcast, I want to keep in touch with them, but you're one of those people, and it's just cool to see, man, because it's hard to come by, you know what I mean?
It is.
Not a lot of people are, whether it's just the mental aspect, that energy level, or just have found what, it's sad to say, because it's just like a lot of people haven't found what they love.
They haven't.
And so I mean to that point, like for somebody who's maybe struggling to find their passion, like what advice would you give somebody to maybe, let's take the logo, divide themselves to be able to find themselves, and like what advice would you give to somebody for that maybe?
I would literally figure out. It's kind of cliche. It's kind of cliche, like find your passion, but I would literally figure out like what do you value the most, whether it's like what do you do with that's free, you know what I mean? Like I'm not making a lot of money right now, but like I can make songs, like bro, I love making songs, I love making music, I love like collaborating with other artists, I love just talking about music, I love just listening to a whole album through, like, so what do you do what do you do in your free time? What do you do that you don't have to get compensated for? And then try to turn that into like your own thing. So like me, like I used to know songs from front to back in high school. Middle school, I used to like perform in front of my parents, like just like at cookouts, just dancing and just being funny. And like I don't know, I just never thought I'd be an artist. But as I was away from home and I'm in a dorm room, I'm just thinking like, bro, like I gotta do something. Like, I know I love music, so like what is it? So like I just started recording and just go from there. And like I got other plans. Like I want to produce and I want to sign artists. But like, you know, it's time and you grow and years go by. So just taking it step by step.
That was what I was gonna ask you next. I think that's, first of all, great advice. But that's what I was gonna ask you next is like, you know, what's the ideal for you? I know you are enjoying the process, but what's like your aspirations with music? Because like you said, I know you want to get into producing music, having people who, you know, who work with you in tandem and stuff like that.
Really, my biggest thing is, so the music industry, there's a lot of talented people that don't get overlooked, bro. Like, and that's with any industry. Like, you know, it's a lot of talented people. So I want to be, when I get to the point where I have a following where I can help other artists that are overlooked that I really think are personally dope. Like, that I really think are dope. Like, there's artists that are from Maryland and from Baltimore that have 2,000 followers, but they're so dope, bro. Like, I'm talking, like, I listen to their music. They would think I'm their biggest fan. Like, I know all their stuff. So, like, I just want to be able to help people like that because, you know, all it takes is a phone call sometimes. Or somebody just shouting you out. That's really what it might always take. So, I would say it's anybody putting out podcasts, anybody putting out songs or videos, whatever. Like, don't care about the views because you never know who you might get in contact the next day. And if you don't have anything to show them, like, then what is it? You're worried about the views. You only have one video up when you could have had 12 videos up. And now you can only show one person this one video instead of having 12 videos to show them.
Yeah, man.
So don't really worry about the views. Don't really, I mean, you know, just put your stuff out. Make sure it's what you want it to be. Make sure it matches your brand. And just keep going.
Yeah.
Like, literally, keep going. And just keep finding ways to connect with your audience.
Absolutely.
So basically, I want to help people that get overlooked a lot. Like artists that get overlooked. Because I know I listen to a lot of artists that, you know, like, have less than 3,000 followers, but I really think their music is hard. Like, and that's me personally. I think it's hard. I think it could be something. So, you know, it's time. It's just time.
Yeah, man. Well, that's cool. Like, tons of like awesome stuff you just said. But I think that's another thing too. Is like, for me, the most fulfilling thing is doing stuff for other people. So I think that that's awesome that you have that aspiration to like appreciate other people's work and want them to thrive like through yourself. I feel like that's gonna be, you know, once you keep building that foundation, it's gonna be so fulfilling, dude, because like to me there's no other fulfillment than doing for other people. That return is like the thing.
No other.
You had a really good point about just like networking and connections and just like you said, just putting stuff out there because you never know who might reach out and be like, hey, you know, you got great stuff, can I see some more? And it's like, right? So like I think to your point, like just that like having connections, networking, but also just doing like the work, man, like just putting it out there is great. And so I guess we'll transition next with kind of the one truth. But if you could give people one thing listening, just one piece of advice, if they could only listen to one part of this podcast, one piece of advice, what would that be that you've learned through your life?
Today, I would say you got to do it by yourself. And I mean that as in there's going to be times where you don't feel like it. There's going to be times when you might be tired. There's going to be times when you feel like people aren't looking. You feel like people aren't paying attention. But you got to do it by yourself. So, like, don't look to other people. Don't look for other people for justification. Like, be okay with it in yourself and know that there's a bigger picture on the other side. So just because you're putting in endless sleepless nights, like, know that those sleepless nights are going to pay off. Like, it might not be paying off right now. It might not pay off next month. But those times where you're by yourself and you're working, it'll pay off. So I would say don't get discouraged by just not having the attention you want right now. You know what I mean? Don't get discouraged because I just feel like the world's too big and eventually your hard work will become noticed. Like, so don't let your hard work be like it being unnoticed right now or whatever point you are. Don't let, like, just do it by yourself and be okay with like whatever's going on. Just be okay with it and, you know, just keep striving. So,
dude, phenomenal advice. I think that that's like such an amazing point. I think that once you have something that you're so focused on, you just know that the end's gonna be positive. And so I feel like, dude, that's amazing advice, and it's cool to see that you think that way. That you're like, you know, whatever happens, the journey's gonna be amazing, but you're gonna get to where you want to go just because you have that belief. So, dude, that's great advice, man. So where can people find you on social media and stuff like that? Where can they find your music, everything like that?
So my artist name and all my socials is BMoreKev at BMORKEV. Yeah, that's about it. That's all my socials. That's my artist name. Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, everywhere. Yeah, I'm dropping single and a video next month. So
video too.
Yeah, video
Sweet.
with it. My 22nd birthday. So
Nice.
that'll be pretty fun. Yeah, this is dope, bro.
Dude,
this is dope.
man. I really appreciate you. Like, regardless of doing the podcast, just hanging out and feeling your energy and just like catching up, man. It's been great. So thanks for making the time, bro. I appreciate it.
You too. Thanks for bringing me.
Anytime, bro.
Thanks for bringing
Signing
me.
out.
You did it. You made it to the end of the episode. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching the podcast. Be sure to go like it, subscribe, share, all that stuff that you're supposed to say at the end of the podcast. Thank you guys again, and stay tuned every Thursday, powerful1.com/podcast, or on the Instagram page at powerful0ne powerful1. Thank you guys again. And again, last thing, if you guys are interested in being on the podcast, hit me up. If you got a cool story and feel like you really fit the mold for Powerful One, hit me up. We'll get you on the podcast. Thank you guys. Stay safe.